This is the GPL podcast, part of the Pull Tab Sports family.
Oh boy. Jupe making mistakes. I love it.
The thing is, if I drink whiskey, I will not be able to function.
Perfect. Let's do it.
It's happened before.
Let's get this bandwagon going, folks.
Take
Come
that,
on.
me, Mr. Negative.
Now, here's Jupiter and Vigo.
Good evening. Welcome to the GPL podcast. Yes, if you're watching, you're not seeing us right now, but yes, USA Vigs, USA, double gold medals for one of our favorite teams, Team USA, man.
Red, white, and blue. Alexa, play Freebird.
There it is. And I put the, if you're watching us, photo by Elsa Hatch. She's from Brainerd, Minnesota. And that's going to be the iconic photo right there, Viggs, of Jack Hughes. Wow.
I mean, what a Olympics for Team USA. You know, the hockey that they put on was really impressive. And just the pace of the game was just phenomenal. And it just reminds you, like, there is a higher end. Like, you watch college hockey, oh, it's pretty good. You watch good teams, it's like, wow, that's an elite line. You watch the NHL, it's like, wow, Quinn Hughes is really good. And then you put the best on best in this kind of format. And Quinn doesn't have the space to do what he does in a normal NHL game. And just everybody is just have that frenetic pace to themselves. And you just see some of the skill that they're able to pull off in those moments. And, you know, USA got some great goaltending in that gold medal game and super entertaining.
So, Viggs, you were a little young for 1980, weren't you?
I was 1
year old.
I was 1 year old. I do not remember the game.
Well, I know someone who's about my age who definitely was there and has definitely felt the entire 46-year wait. Ben Holden joining the show. Look, there he is. How's it going, Ben?
Good, man. I do. I was 9 years old. I'm a November birthday. It was a 70 birth year. So, yeah, I fell in love with the sport, and I haven't looked back since. I wasn't going to be my hero at the time growing up in Lansing, Michigan, and that's Magic Johnson. Nothing was going to make me black and 6'9". So it was great that I found hockey, and I haven't turned back.
46 years, man. 46 years. And as Vig said, it was some of the best hockey we've ever seen. I mean, the speed of that final for the men's game was amazing.
Yeah, it was incredible. I mean, I funny story. I don't get up very early in the morning. I'll be honest. I'm not a morning guy. And my girlfriend Owens, we call her, and I said, I'm getting up at 7:55. She's like, no, you're not. I said, watch me. Right when the alarm went off, I was up, man. So no, it was incredible. I mean, it was fun to watch. I could watch that every day, and you know, to see our guys do it, and you know, all the comments from Canada afterwards, they are what they are, but you know, that's the format. I'm sorry. It's 3-on-3. They agreed to it. Is the best way to decide a championship. I'd rather just see them play 5-on-5 for 20 minutes because I think it's going to be over in 5 minutes anyway. I don't think it's going to go very long. So, you know, great for our guys, great for our country, and great for USA Hockey, for the women and the men that did it in overtime. And I got to point out, boys, you know, I'm proud of my home state. A lot of Michigan people on those teams, and both OT winners were scored by Megan Keller and, of course, Jack Hughes from Michigan.
If Megan only had a place to go play in Michigan.
True. Good point. Good point. I won't argue that.
Gotta stab those Michigan schools in that one.
It amazes me. I don't get. I mean, I get it, but it needs to happen. It really does.
Let's talk about that women's game, Viggs, because the women's team they were feeling the pressure because they dominated the entire tournament, beat Canada 5-zip, 5-1. Yeah, 5-zip it was. They felt the pressure when they got down in that game, and the way they came back, and that Megan Keller goal, wow. That's all I can say. Wow.
I mean, it takes special players to make special plays in games like that. And you just watched Canada's team basically collapse on their own goal in the defensive zone. It's going to be so hard for Team USA to get pucks to the net. It takes that screen and tip by Hillary Knight to get, the game scored and going into overtime. And you knew it was going to take a play like that. And for a veteran player to make a savvy tip on a screen, that was very impressive for them. That USA team had dominated Canada leading up to the Olympics as well. A lot was made of the roster turnover underway with USA Hockey and their women's program. They had so many young players that were given roles. There are a lot of great articles in The Athletic about, the people who kind of like behind the scenes were making that stuff happen. And I don't think USA is as dominant a team in this tournament without that youth. You look at Caroline Harvey, she's like a Hughes brother, your sister. She just fits right in with that style and that freedom and that control of the game. And especially in the women's game, when you have players like that, it's such a difference maker.
But I would say even on the women's side, Canada played the perfect game they needed to play. It didn't work out for them in the end, but that kind of maybe that leadership of an older team helped them stay in that game.
I will say, when you have a team, I just went through coaching my teams and districts and stuff. When you get in these tight games, you always want that one more goal. I think it's always dangerous when you just collapse and you sit back and you want to keep pressing. You want to keep doing what makes you a talented team. And I think when you put yourself in that shell, it just invites situations like Canada ran into in their gold medal game where they lost in overtime.
And then, of course, on the men, Ben, the move by Boldy to get that goal, to get them up early, Hellebuyck, holy cow, to Jack Hughes' overtime winner, losing half his mouth and the whole thing. Yes, Canada did dominate, but it's the final score that matters, kid. It's the final score.
I mean, it's McCarr jumping down, trying to trip Jack Hughes. Jack Hughes makes a great play with his stick, chips it around. It's McKinnon losing the battle to Zach Werenski, and McCarr and McDavid. I don't know, Viggs, you coach. You just said I don't know how good that back check was. It didn't look very strong to me. I've seen guys in the league I play in put in a little bit better effort than that, man. And that was really
that's
the
old
end
man
result.
hockey. There's not much defense in old man hockey, as we all know.
Hey, we won last night 2-0. Our goalie shut out the last two opponents.
Well, look at that.
And
There you
before
go.
you ask, I was +2 with 1-1. So I had the winner.
Nice.
So I had to get that in. I knew you'd go there,
I
Jupe,
know.
so
It's
it's
what
all
we do.
good.
It's what we
It's all
do.
good.
But I do think the amount of ice time that those got in this tournament for Canada
Yeah.
was surprising to me. You have such a deep, talented roster. I don't know if you need to lean on those guys quite like John Cooper did. John Cooper, he's a great coach. He's achieved some phenomenal things, but you have these short, condensed tournaments where the pace is so high. It looked like it may have cost them in the overtime there with the effort they gave on the back check.
Yeah, I mean,
Three best
McDavid's
players in
trying-
the world. Three best players in
exactly,
the world.
and that's what I said. Like, you're going to complain about it. You have literally the three best guys in the world on the ice, and you don't win the game because I think, and I know you guys will say too. I mean, I think McDavid was simply trying to win the game on the first shift, taking on three guys, and it threw everything askew for them, and they were out of shape. They couldn't get back.
Viggs, it comes back to people should have listened to Billy Guerin. He knew what he was doing when he picked the team and why he didn't pick certain guys. You know what?
Well, those
Look at the gold.
out.
Look at the gold.
they went into overtime and people were like, really would be nice to have Cole Caulfield to throw over the boards in this situation, though. But they got away with it, so good
Yeah.
for Billy G.
Yeah,
It was a fun team to watch and a great game. Connor Hellebuyck played outstanding, and just the story of him. A guy who played high school hockey in Michigan couldn't do the AAA route like his brother went through, so had to do high school, and then finds his way to UMass, and had trouble finding junior teams to play for, and look at him now, gold medal winner.
Yeah, that's a great point. I mean, he was a second team All-Stater his senior year. Wasn't even a first team guy. And I remember they played at Michigan. I think it was his sophomore year, junior year, whatever it was. And you watch him and you're like, he's good. He's a good college goalie. You think nothing of it. But what I kept thinking is, how did he was good. And that made me think, how did nobody in the state recruit him? Nobody offered him. Not one of the 7 schools in this state offered him. And good for him, man. I'm with you, Viggs. It's a great story of perseverance and, proving the doubters wrong and taking the one chance you got and making everything out of it. I think that's a great message indeed for a lot of young kids out there that watch these men's and women's teams win the gold.
Well, I think goalie is such a hard position to develop, recruit, evaluate. And, I've talked to Chris Mayotte at CC. He's had some talented goalies come through, and he's like, these big NHL style goalies, it takes them a while to control their bodies to be able to play the position at a high level. And it's like, junior teams might not be patient enough to have a guy like that, who's got that, potential runway. College team might not have the patience for that to give a player an opportunity to develop. But by the time they get to their peak, man, it's something to watch.
Sure is.
Viggs, it also shows a goalie can bring you a long way.
Oh, for sure.
I mean, yes, there was fortune. I mean, was it wide open missed nets, couple messed up breakaways. Yes, you got the stick on that. The save that should go up on the Louvre, but it's like there's some fortune with that. But it's he got in their heads.
That's 100%.
That makes the difference.
When you've got a goalie who's on, it forces the other team to be a little bit more fine, and it forces them to maybe make that extra pass or maybe shoot a little bit quicker before they're comfortable. And when you have a goalie that's standing on their head like that, it just changes the whole tenor of the game. And I think that's what we saw a little bit. Macklin Celebrini's having an amazing year, had clean look. Connor McDavid had clean looks. It's something to watch, and it was really fun. And Ben's saying he's not a morning person. I'm not usually a morning person either. I like to do overtime and stay up late and have a couple whiskeys and things like that. But I was up at 4 a.m. for this game.
Wow!
Oh,
my kids had 2 games later that day in districts, and I'm nervous about that. And I'm like, I've got to make sure I'm up on time to watch this gold medal game because I won't have time to watch it on DVR or anything. So I was up at 4. I was making American breakfast, eggs, bacon, toast, jam, getting ready to go.
Wow.
And I love the celebration shots, Viggs, of, I saw, youth kids games. All of a sudden you hear their parents cheering, and these kids just stop the game and start skating around the ice and are just having a ball.
Yeah. Good moment for USA Hockey. I was looking back, someone tweeted in 2011 that USA Hockey U8 numbers were over 100,000 for the first time. And he's like, look out in 15 years.
That was Craig Custance that tweeted that. Yeah, I saw that too.
And I always look at, the 8U numbers. And I go, man, that high school in 8-9 years is going to have a great team in the AA state tournament, which is coming up here in Minnesota. It's all about numbers and development. Minnesota hockey, USA Hockey has done such a great job, developing a big player pool. And I think that's so key. You look at the roster. Yeah, there's 10 Minnesotans that won gold among the 2 teams, but you've got players from Arizona and California and Florida and Michigan and Massachusetts all over the place that are contributing to this team. And I always think in hockey, it's like you want to develop talent, but you want to keep kids playing for a long time.
Ben, we heard recently that the NHL took out the IOC had to take out a large insurance policy on these NHL players. And it looks like they're going to be paying some of that out for Sidney Crosby now that he's going to be out 4 weeks.
Sounds that, 4 weeks.
Oh.
And, maybe you guys saw the video too. It was on Instagram. He was at a kids camp today and he's out there taping sticks for kids. I mean, American, Canadian, Swedish, Finnish, whatever, man. How do you not respect that guy? And, here in Detroit, we were a little ticked at him for a few years because of the handshake and all that. But who cares? I didn't play in that. I didn't really ever care about that, but I know a lot of fans were. But, as a hockey guy, man, utmost respect for him. And, it's unfortunate what happened. I don't know about you guys, but it's easy to sit here for us to say, and I'm sure a lot of other people have said it too. To me, if he takes that hit, and I know that's hard to do. That's hard to do, but he leaned back and I know it's a split second, but looking back, I wish it wouldn't have happened. I wish he would have been playing on Sunday. I wanted to see him play. I thought there was no way that he was going to miss that game, but obviously it's serious enough where he couldn't go on it.
And that was unfortunate. But
yeah,
like you said, Viggs, all around great tournament. I understand why they do 3-on-3. They want it to end quickly. They can't. It's the last day of the Olympics. They can't chance it. Closing ceremonies, everything. It's not just like its own little thing. It's part of something a lot bigger.
Yeah, it's just I think everyone understands what they're getting into with this event and why it is that way, and you just deal with it and prepare, and add some drama to it too. Hearing TJ Oshie talk about his experience in the Olympics, that's pretty unique stuff, and it only happens there. So very entertaining, and I was glad that USA came out on top this time.
Oh boy, it's good. Yeah, exactly. Fist in the air. Let's go. On the other end, Viggs, we're off a week because our hometown Gophers didn't play, but before that, 2 points at Notre Dame. The penalty power play clearly Mr. 18. Not a good result for Minnesota at Notre Dame.
Yeah, Minnesota's at a point of their season where LJ Mooney is a huge factor. And when you pull him out of the lineup, it's going to have a huge impact. That top line isn't nearly as dangerous without him on the ice. The power play clearly isn't as good when you swap Mooney for Paulson. And it's just a different team. And I think, if it was a playoff type game or if there was a race in the standings that was critical for Minnesota, there's a chance LJ could have played. He skated with the team in South Bend and, didn't have the Red Cross jersey on, wasn't playing for Switzerland that week. But, I think the safe bet is to keep him out of the lineup and make sure he's 100% come back, with the bye week that they've just got off of here. And, he's ready to go again. And I think that's the big picture thing for Minnesota. Whipple was a D who played 20 minutes a night in both games. He's established himself as a top 4 guy. That third pair still isn't getting much of an opportunity. They're leaning pretty heavy on Luke Middlestat and Cal Thomas still at this point. But, this is a team that's focusing on the end of the season. And I know our friends at USCHO called out Minnesota as a dark horse team. And there's just a couple teams here in the Big Ten that aren't high in the standings, but they've got good power plays. You look at Notre Dame's power play. You look at Minnesota's power play. They're very good. You look at their top 6 forwards. Both teams pretty good. Defense, not as deep for both those teams. And I think that's what impacts them 5-on-5 and as a team when you look at their whole resume. Because when you don't have those defensemen who are really productive, it's hard to be consistent.
Well, you just look at it, Ben, right now, Minnesota would travel to Penn State for one game. Penn State leads the country in penalty minutes per game. Like you said, that whole thing Viggs was saying, in a one-game scenario, Minnesota could get blown out and do what everyone expects, but it could be the total opposite as well. It's been one of those seasons. That's not something that Penn State can go, we got Minnesota, because they don't.
No, you're right. And, I had Notre Dame last week in the 2 games at Michigan State. And, I think there was a couple times Fred and I had mentioned on the air, like, I don't know if I'd want to play this team in one game. I know their record's horrible too. And, they're going through a change. And I think in a year or 2 at most, I think Brock Sheehan's going to turn that program back around. I asked Brock about, I started calling games in 2004. his freshman year, and I did 12 games at Notre Dame that year, and they won 5 games. 5. One of them was against BC when they were number 1, and Morgan Say stopped 50 shots. But anyways, I think they're going to get back to that. And I know the result on Saturday was not pretty. Michigan State was complete. They were thorough. They just ran them out of the building. But up until that power play where Notre Dame had a 5-minute major, they were in the game, and they were certainly in the game on Thursday. So I wouldn't want to play them. I wouldn't want to play Minnesota if I'm Penn State, because I think Minnesota, when they're healthy, like you guys mentioned, and Mooney, we talked to him today, man. I love that kid. He is a firecracker, man. I really like him, and he gives such a dimension to their team. And you guys know better than anybody. You watch him every game. He does so much for their team, and he's ready to go. So we had a good chat with him today. But yeah, I mean, I like the new format. I think it keeps teams. It's going to give teams a chance to be fresher, to be healthier. Instead of the best of 3 or whatever it is, it goes 2 or 3, and so I like it. I think Michigan's going to end up being the 2, and I think they're going to end up playing Notre Dame. I mean, so and they got some history there. They took Muse out. Ivan Kovic got taken out. I'll stand on my ground. What I've said all along. I don't think Henry Nelson ran him. I think he toe picked. But Ivan Kovic missed a month. But Michigan didn't really miss a beat. So there's a lot of history there, and their 2 brand names too, as we know.
Quick question on Michigan. I'm still amazed that they're still the only team who has not won a regular season title. And they're going to, right now, it's, they've got 2 games left. It's their last 2 games are this weekend. Yes, they're technically in the lead, but they would need a lot of help to prevent Michigan State from passing them up. They're a playoff team. Yes, they've won 3 of them, but the regular season has evaded them. What is the deal?
I don't know. I mean, mathematically, Penn State's still alive, but realistically, let's be honest. I don't think Michigan State's going to slip. They could. I mean, Minnesota could give them a hard time. I don't think they have any trouble with Ohio State this weekend. I just don't. I mean, Ohio State just gave up 16 goals to Penn State.
Oh.
I mean, McKenna and those guys just shredded them. So I don't think State's losing one of those games. I think if there's going to be a blemish, I think it's against Minnesota. Maybe a game goes to overtime.
Mm-hmm.
I don't see that this weekend. Michigan, I don't know. I mean, it's baffling to me that they have never won the regular season. I believe the number is 2011. That's the last time they won a league, and that was the CCHA title, of course. So I don't know, but I really like their team. They've got all the elements, and I think the thing for other teams that's concerning and scary for them is they've got a goalie in Jack Ivan Kovic. And, Fred and I and our crew, we were surprised the night he came back downtown, but he didn't have his best game that night. I think one of those, the first goal he gave up, he'd like back, but the other 4, I don't think anybody was stopping him. So State was on that night like they were the other night and like they've been most nights. So Michigan's going to be a problem for a lot of teams, though, the rest of the year.
Viggs, I know you've been a little hard on Nerado and the way he's kind of built teams, but this season you've felt a little different about how his team has come together.
They just seem like a little more complete team than some of the past Michigan teams. I think they've got enough veteran players that are contributing or playing the right way for them. They've been able to outscore their mistakes. You look back at Michigan, they haven't won a regular season title, I think, since 2011, like Ben said, but they've been to 4 Frozen Fours.
Mm-hmm.
This is a team that's had a lot of talent and a lot of success, and it's just been one of those programs where they're not as consistent. And this year it's been a little bit different for them, and they've been really tough for everyone to play against because they could score at a very, very high rate, and they don't have very many undisciplined games where they give up a ton either.
That's the key. You just said it. Sorry, Jubes, but that's the key is the discipline. I mean, you look at Tyler Duke, who's a senior, experienced guy, well over 100 games in his career, but he hasn't come unglued at all this year. Guys like that. I think Luca Fantilli is really under the radar. I mean, I don't think he makes the first or second team in the Big Ten. Maybe he makes the second team at D, maybe. But point is, he's been consistent, to your point, Viggs, about this whole team being a deeper, more complete team. And And that's what they are. I mean, they got the star power in Hage, and Jaden Perron's played well. But it's TJ Hughes that leads them, man. He's a 4-year guy. You know, he's the heartbeat of that team. He's the engine. He's the driver. Call him whatever you want. He's just, we talked to him yesterday, and quiet guy. You wouldn't know he's been a 2-year captain at Michigan and just goes about his business, and he's smart, and he thinks the game and makes the right play. And, you know, guys like that. I'm just looking at some of their other guys. Like, some of their freshmen have been really good. McKinney's been good. Aiden Park's been really good. I mean, they can flip the game in a hurry, man. So, and they've got 4 lines. They really do. And then you got Big Earnesty and Draper, and, you know, those guys are mixing it up, banging everything in sight. And it is. You're right, Viggs. It's a complete team this year. And again, I think with Ivan Kovic, I think they're going to be a tough out in this thing down the stretch.
But I think you just look at how you build a roster in college hockey these days.
Yeah.
You need those guys who can stick around for 3 and 4 years.
Yep.
It makes such a huge difference in how your program can operate, because then those young guys can fit in on a line with a couple older guys, where they don't have to do it every night, and they can get the support to contribute. You know, Brad Schlossman likes to put out that tweet every NCAA tournament. Like, the last team with a first-round pick was Brock Besser on North Dakota to win a championship.
Yeah.
It takes some experience to play well in these big games and to be consistent and be patient when things aren't going your way. And you got to avoid shooting yourself in the foot. And when you're experienced and strong like Michigan is right now, you can do that. You know, on the flip side, you look at teams like Minnesota and Notre Dame. They don't have that. They have so many young guys that they're counting on to do things. And last year, you know, with the portal being a little thin, without the 5th-year grad guys, you know, it just wasn't as easy to fill holes in your roster. And so you kind of see that gap between the teams that are super consistent this year and the teams that are not.
Great point. No, I mean, you're right on, man.
It's going to be interesting to see how this all comes together. Before we move on, Viggs, we need to talk about one of our sponsors here, Cascade CBX Sport. I know you've been using that a lot lately, from playing hockey and coaching and chasing all those kids, haven't you?
Yeah, you know, it's for pros, college athletes, weekend warriors like myself who are at the rink. You know, you get some soreness, you know, you're looking for something, and Cascade CBX Sport is so confident in their products that can be a game changer for you. They're giving our listeners a very special deal. Visit CascadeCBXsport.com/team, and for just $5, you can get a 300 milligram sample jar with free shipping, and you can try it out. It's something that retails for $25. You'll get it to your doorstep. You'll be able to try it on. You know, it reduces inflammation, relieves pain, relieves stress. You know, it's a great product, I think, for people who have just a little bit of soreness and want to play through it. And it's NSF certified, so it's free from 300 banned substances. So you don't have to worry about anything there. Trust the shield. Stay on the field.
And here's that little sample right here. So you can get one of these. Right up your alley, Ben. You should check it out. Trust me. Oh,
you some on my shoulder right now from last night.
There you go. CascadeCBXsport.com/team.
Yeah, I'm going to check it out. I mean, I'm 55, I'll be honest. And there's guys at the 40 and over, and there's dudes in their 40s, their 50s like me, 60. We got some dudes in their early 70s, man. And every now and then on the Sunday skate, the Sunday is more of, it's guys from the league, but it's kind of a hand-picked group. So it's a real high-tempo skate, you know, and everybody knows everybody. And then, of course, we play in the league either Tuesday or Wednesday. And a couple weeks ago, man, I asked one of the guys, it's I think he's 72. And I was like, Freddie, man, I go, how do you feel, man, after you skate? And he goes, I'm sore as hell. That's how I feel. I go, good. It's not just me.
But the thing is, you could play hockey much longer because it's not an impact sport. You're gliding. Yes, you can have, yes, you're putting stress on your knees, but it's nothing like, you know, playing squash or you know, whatever it may be. It's hard on the joints. So, that's why, you know, for years, Viggs, we always saw Wendell Anderson, former governor of Minnesota, skating into his 80s in hockey. So
Red's still playing. Red Berenson, man.
There you go.
I mean, I think he's 85 now. He's still playing in the alumni games with the Wings, and
Yeah.
It's crazy, man. I'm so glad I started playing 3 years ago. And I mean, I'm skating 100 times a year, literally. And my CPA got me back into it. You know, I was going through a tough patch there after I lost that job in DC. It was questioning a lot of stuff. And it's been great for me, man. And physically, emotionally, spiritually,
Mhm.
you know, being with the boys, you know, in the locker room and hanging. You guys know how it is. And, you know, my girlfriend and I get a little separation a couple nights a week. So that's always a good thing, too, boys. So.
Okay, time to get out of the house.
Distance makes the heart grow fonder. Yeah,
exactly. I get to start traveling for rugby in a couple of weeks, so we'll get a little room there. It's all good.
All right, we need to take a look at Vigo's top 20 this week. Vigs, you actually put Michigan down a little bit there, didn't you? Look at that.
well, you know, you split at Wisconsin. You know, you got to drop a little bit, I think. You know, as talented as they are, Wisconsin was a team that's just kind of hanging on by a thread. And that's one of those games that got away from Michigan just a little bit. I think Wisconsin was playing a little bit desperate and just shows you, you know, at the top, you know, it's a fine line up there.
Ben, you look at that top 10 that Vigs has together, that's pretty close to, you know, what it really should be. I mean, actually probably your top 10. I would maybe Quinnipiac down. You know, you got Providence has been pretty consistent all year. Penn State, Denver's been a little up and down in your poll, Vigs, but really they've been consistent too. Really, your top 10 this year has been fairly consistent the last 2 months, hasn't it?
Yeah, I'm probably the outlier on Cornell and Dartmouth. You know, everyone's been higher on them than I have. I just see their strength of schedule and who they've played, and it's just not as impressive as the rest of the teams in the top 10 here. All those schools have played tough teams. They've proven themselves. You know, they've had some down moments in their season, and they've recovered, and they've got some elite talent. And so that's kind of where I'm looking at those top 10 teams. And, you know, they're looking pretty safe here as we get towards the NCAA tournament. I think once you get past BC, things are getting scary, because I was listening to those guys on USCHO. There are potentially a lot of upsets that could happen in conference tournaments. And we might see a number of teams outside the, you know, at-large area for bids this year that could make it.
Well, let's take a look straight at NPI right there. I mean, holy Western teams, Batman, top 4 right there, and Penn State, and technically Big Ten, but not a lot of East schools up at the top this year, Ben.
No, I mean, the Mitten's dominating, boys. Hopefully in the end we're winning another one this year.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, you know, North Dakota's playing Western this weekend in Kalamazoo, and you know, some big series here in the state, you know, with Michigan and Michigan State and who they're playing. And you know, Lawson will be rocking, man. I miss that place. I love doing that league. Just go to Lawson all the time. But yeah, I mean, it's really impressive what First has done at Western. I mean, you know, again, I don't do a lot of their games anymore. I did the one at Michigan in October, and I mean, they're just a solid group, man. They got it figured out, and you know, he's such a good coach and a great recruiter, and you know, they're just nails to play against, man. They're hard. They got layers. They got every area covered from the net out. Their D-core's good. They're strong. They're physical. They can move the puck fast, you know, and they got a good mix of their forwards. So I don't really, North Dakota, I haven't seen a lot of Nodak this year, but, you know, I trust based on their record and what Schlossman tweets out that all is well up in the Forks right now, boys.
Well, I was giving a few of them a hard time that, you know, if they wouldn't have lost to Minnesota in October, that, you know, 58.156 would be 59 point. It'd be a full point higher if they didn't lose to Minnesota. So
yeah, they'd be probably
and to
second.
make the Minnesota fans a little happier, schedule rank, Minnesota is still number 1 in the toughest schedule leagues. That's about the only consolation we have right now, don't we?
Yeah, I mean, you look at Minnesota; they do have quality wins. You know, they got the win over Denver. You know, they got the win over North Dakota. You know, they've got the win over Penn State. You know, they have shown signs that they can be a dangerous team. So it's just, I think, for 1 year where the Big Ten goes to these one-off games, it really benefits a team like Minnesota, because they've shown they can pull it off for a game or two. You just got to do that a couple series in a row.
Yeah, I mean, in talking to Steve the Killer Miller, we love the Killer, man. It's always great to see him. We saw him at the rink today, and you know, a big takeaway from him. There were many, but you know, the biggest thing, and you guys know better than anybody, but just for those maybe that don't out there or joining the show or whatever. I mean, the 5-on-5 is where they got to be better. I mean, the power play, that hasn't been. I mean, it was a problem in the beginning of the year, and it's interesting too that he made a good point. Steve did, and when he was talking to Freddie, and I listened to the interview back because I was in talking to Paul Martin, so I missed talking with him. But I mean, the best penalty kill in the Big Ten is like 80%. That's incredible. I mean, normally PKs were 85 to 90, and it's changed, and I think it's probably going down a rabbit hole about the way games are called and what's called, and all that with the 5-minute penalties or more of those. In the last few years than we've ever had. But, the Big Ten, the power plays are pretty darn good, man, really with everybody. So better stay out of the box. But again, I think for Minnesota, one of the things they're going to have to be a lot better in this series starting tomorrow night is 5-on-5. And they got to be attacking, man. I mean, Luka DePasquale can't stop 92 shots in the series like he did in the first one. I mean, they've got to be better. They got to be sound in that 5-on-5 and button it up there.
Taking a look at the rest of the Big Ten this weekend, Penn State at Notre Dame, Ohio State at Michigan State. Gee, I think that one's on Big Ten too. Who's calling? Is that going to be another? Who's calling that game? I mean, you're going to be on Minnesota.
Yeah. So Freddie and I are at Michigan for both. Clymer and Vosters are up in East Lansing. So. There's only 2 games tomorrow. Lake State's playing. I think they're playing Ferris. I thought I saw in our game. And then doubleheader for us on Friday, and then a solo Saturday game up at State with those guys.
I like all those games we've been seeing. I mean,
yeah, man.
I mean, we were giving Cappy a hard time. Like, maybe they should have some defense, at that game.
The Buckeyes
at Penn State. Yeah.
Oh, I was gassing him on text when he was doing the game, man. I'm like, your team stinks.
But there was like 6 goals in like the first 6 minutes of the second period. It was just crazy.
It was defense optional.
8 points, Viggs, for Mr. McKenna.
Insane.
Yeah, I was joking with Bob this week. I was like, what do you make of the scoreboard in the Big Ten this last weekend? He's like, I wish we were a part of that. We're looking for offense, and I'd like a defense optional game from someone we play. But the power plays are talented, and McKenna had a night. When you have a game that gets out of hand like that, and there's a lot of space, that is definitely his skill set. He's got great hands and great vision. I think the thing that we're still concerned about with him is his effort to contribute more than that. But when that's the game, he's a master of that.
Well, I would say we kind of saw a similar game last year, Ben, when Minnesota was at Michigan State. There was a game, what was it, 9-3? It was just as bad.
Yeah.
Sometimes games just get away from you. We don't see it as often as you would see like back in the 70s and 80s and maybe 90s, but it still does happen.
Well, yeah, I mean, Michigan State put the snowman on Notre Dame in game 2 on Friday. So you had that was the night Penn State scored 11, right? So you had 19 goals just in that game, those 2 games. And, I think there were 4 or 5 in the Michigan-Wisconsin game. So, yeah, it's rare. I had a chance to see McKenna at Michigan, watch both games. He finished with 16 shots, didn't score. So, they got a late goal. Like Misa tipped one in late. I'm going to be that guy, but I look at what he's done against Michigan and Michigan State. And he didn't score against Michigan in 4 games. I think he had 1 game where he scored against State, the outdoor game with a great picture everyone saw. I mean, yeah, there's a lot there, but I think there's still a lot more that's got to come in his game. And, the passing to me is passing is next level. It's off the charts, man. I watched him Friday. I was up with Freddie and Al in the radio booth, and it was a right wing pass all the way, a backhand sauce pass. I mean, on the middle of the tape, that kind of stuff. But, I personally think whether he's number 1 or not, he needs to come back and play another year of college hockey. I don't think.
No, he doesn't. No, he doesn't. No.
Yeah, he does. Yeah. Well, I get.
No, he doesn't. Wait,
he does. I'm going to stick to
I
that.
think it might cost Penn State too much more money.
Well, they got plenty of that, right? So, but those are my 2 cents on him.
It's strange, Viggs. McKenna hasn't been as successful against some of the bigger teams, and you know what? Sometimes these superstars can get shut down quite a bit. I remember back in the day, Minnesota shut down Hughes pretty consistently at Michigan. I look back at Johnny Hockey was shut down by Minnesota when they had played against him. So there's just times where some teams are not going to let this guy get free. And maybe that's what, Michigan State's been doing, because you got to put somebody on them. You got to cover them.
I think the big difference in college hockey than, major junior or UCHL or these World Junior tournaments is the structure can be so much firmer, and guys are tighter on checks, and they're bigger and they're stronger, and they've done the strength and conditioning, and they're able to force you to the outside. And so for players like McKenna who haven't had to deal with that as much, it's a learning experience to figure out where they can touch the stove and where they're going to lose possession and where they can't get momentum. And, I think some guys get frustrated with that and they just want to move on to the next level because they're like, well, it's not going to get any different in the AHL. I might as well do it and get paid. So we'll see what McKenna decides to do. There's a lot of college coaches that say, if you're ready to go to the NHL, I'll drive to the airport. And other guys, their agents are going to take them to the airport. So we'll see what happens to McKenna at the end of the year.
It's going to be a fun couple weeks, though. It's going to be a fun couple weeks. It's weird being on the outside, Vigs. We'll get to that in a bit here, but I'm hoping that we can see some Big Ten success this year, Ben, because they really need it. The only conference really been chatting is NCHC, and they've got the hardware to prove it.
Yeah, I mean, they've dominated the sport since the split when they started in 13-14, and it's time. I mean, I've been saying it. I was on a couple different shows last week, and I think Michigan State, not by much, but I think Michigan State to me is the more complete team in the Big Ten, and it's not by much. It's really not. If I had to pick a difference in a separating factor, I would say it's Martone and Stramel, because those guys have been really consistent they haven't had too many nights where they haven't produced. And I know Red Berenson once told me in an alumni game after I put up 2 goals and had 2 assists, and he asked me how I played. And I said, well, I had 2 and 2. He goes, doesn't mean you played well, right? He loved throwing that in my face, and he's right. But I just, the presence of those 2 guys, I think is what separates the 2 teams that are in my state. And again, I don't think it's by much, but I think that's the factor for me that I think is going to be the difference for state this year.
And just thinking back on Stramel's career, Vigs, wasn't much long ago that people were like, what were the Wild thinking drafting this kid? Teams were making him look bad, Vigs, when he was at Wisconsin and even kind of early on at Michigan State.
Yeah. Well, I've always thought big players take a little bit longer to bake.
There you go.
There's just something about it. There's just something about it. Like, you've got to figure out how to make an impact in the game, how to get your foot speed going. Matthew Nyes is one of those rare big players that I thought made an impact really quickly with his physicality. But a lot of other big players, it just takes a while to figure it out. And, Stramel's a guy who's benefited from some patience and sticking to it. And I think it really makes Martone a better player, being able to see that every day and not be that guy, but be the second guy. Stramel's going to get all the attention of the best big physical players from the other team, and then Martone can kind of slip in there as a secondary big guy. And just the matchups can be really beneficial for a guy like that and help his development.
It's going to be interesting. I'm excited because I'm excited as a Wild fan, Vigs, that he's figuring it out. It's a big body. I'm looking forward to him coming to the Wild now. So
don't get too excited. I saw Hoppy tweet today that maybe there's a chance that Thomas from St. Louis could be acquired for a guy like Stramel and some draft picks and maybe a goalie.
Oh boy.
Yeah, he's we've talked about him in Porter Martone, obviously every game, but, it reminded us of Zach Hyman. Fred brought that up one day. I can't remember which coach it was with, but he's like, Red would always say about Hyman, you could take him right now and you could drop him on any team in the league. Like, he can play, and both those dudes can play. And there's no way Martone's back. I think he's, we're talking about McKenna earlier. Martone's ready to roll, man. Whenever state's done, I don't know if the Flyers will be playing at that point, but they might have a game or two left. I don't think they're making the playoffs, but I think he's a one and done guy. And what a stud. And Freddie asked him last week too about why he played college hockey, and I joked. I said College Hockey Inc. needs to cut that into a promo right now. It was fabulous what he said, guys. I mean, it was incredible. It was so good. And he's such a well-spoken guy, and a big fan of his, man. He's a good young guy.
And Ben, I think that's going to change even more. So some of these Canadian junior kids coming down to some of these big programs, Viggs and I have talked about this. They're like, oh, wait a minute. We're flying planes everywhere.
Yep.
We're
charters.
We're flying charters. We're getting,
no bussy.
Oh, it's a higher experience, Viggs, for a lot of these guys.
Well, and just the food and the training and the hotels and all that stuff. It's like when you see guys in the Big Ten start to look at the transfer portal, they're looking for a high quality of life. They're not wanting to go down to the CCHA or Atlantic or anything like that for more playing time. They're like, can I make a lateral move and keep all the nice things that go into playing Big Ten hockey or Hockey East hockey or NCHC hockey at the right school? And it's going to be interesting. The bigger picture for me is how these teams handle the early departures, because we see it with a lot of programs. You invest the time in these Canadian junior guys. If they're only going to stick around for a year, you really got to make sure it's the right situation to plug it into your lineup. If you had a guy like that at Minnesota, they might get exposed a little bit more because they'd be playing a bigger role. You put them at Michigan State, they're hidden a little bit behind some older guys who know how to play, and you can put them in the right situations and they'll shine brighter.
Yeah, that's legit. All right, before we get to this weekend, Viggs, we got to talk about our other sponsor, Cub Foods. They've been with us for a long time.
Yeah, Cub Foods, they're one of us. They're sponsoring us. They do the Pull Tab Sports Wild on 7 pod. They do the Homer Hankies or on PJ Flex headset. They're a local company that wants to give back. You look at Dickeytown athletes, Cub's deeply involved. And when I go down to my Quarry Cub, I know everything's always going to be in stock. If I'm putting together my beef stew like I did tonight, I need a couple ingredients to make it work. I go down to Cub. I can order online. I can pick it up. They'll deliver it, whatever I want. And if I'm looking for a few beverages to go with that beef stew, or maybe with a little OT, I can pick it up at a lot of Cubs as well. So check them out. Shop happy. Cub.
All right. Ben, it's been a tough season for us Minnesota fans. I even had the famous goon from North Dakota. He's like, it's just not the same when Minnesota's not good. And it's been a long time. I mean, the last 50 years, they've only had sub 500 seasons 4 times.
Yep.
This is a sub 400 season, the first time in over 50 years.
Yeah.
Back to the 71-72 season.
Ouch.
So this is not normal for us here. So it's been a little rough for Minnesota fans, especially when we go and see them beat North Dakota on the road 5-1. Go out to Pepsi, or I don't think it's Pepsi Center anymore, but Ball Arena. Yeah, Ball Arena in Denver, and beat Denver in overtime. Yeah. We just see these glimpses, but then all of a sudden we just see these crashes. It's been a weird season, man. Very weird.
Yeah, well, I mean, my allegiance is with team in East Lansing, and they stunk for a decade. So,
hey, they're still the last Big Ten team to win a national championship, though.
When I'm put on the spot, that's who I root for. I grew up there. I'm not going to hide that. I have for years, but people know. Carmi gives me gas about that all the time. I'm like, hey, I grew up there. My dream was to be a player at that school. It never happened. I wasn't good enough, so.
But hold on. You torture Carmi with like a lot of North Dakota guys and things like that. So I think you kind of like to stick the little needle in there with Carmi, which is great because I like it when you do that.
It's all good. No, back to your point though. It's and I'll say this. When we had the Gophers in East Lansing back in end of January, we did the second game and. I didn't expect Bob to be down and out. We went in to talk to him. I expected him to be, a head coach that's leading his team. And he was, and then some. He was very upbeat with us that day. They gave State a pretty tough game that night. I know they didn't win it, but he's going to get through this. And even Killer, talking to us today, talking about there's an upbeat vibe. The guys aren't down. They just got to play. Again, I think it comes down for them. They've got to be better 5-on-5. They can't just count on the power play. They've got to be better 5-on-5, and they got to manage the puck at the right time and not make the wrong mistake. I think it's basic things. Sure, are they lacking a ton of talent? Yeah, they lost 200 points, right? So, that's another story, and that's nothing they can do about that now. But, it's tough. I don't think they're going to be down long, guys. I really don't. It's like, I think like Notre Dame, I don't think they're going to be down long. I think in a year or two, they're going to be back, and, Bob can pull a string and they're back next year and they're a top 3 team in the league. So, they got 4 left in a regular season. Unfortunately, they got to play 2-1 in back-to-back weeks like they did to start the month or in the middle of the month. So, but that's the way the cookie crumbles. So, and they got a chance to do something in the tournament. So, I'd bank on that if I'm them, and that's what their players told us today. That's what Killer talked about, and we talked a little bit about that today with Bob too. So there's a good upbeat feel in their room, and it'll be a big test, but we'll see what they do come Thursday night.
And Beans, we were both at practice yesterday, just kind of sitting casually watching, and we saw them doing some different type of drills that we had never seen before. Maybe different. They're working on, right as you were getting there, they're working on breakouts and things like that. But then they were doing some things that I had never seen before. So we know they're trying different things in practice.
Yeah, I mean, Bob is a coach who wants to promote offense. And so he designs a lot of drills where the offense has the advantage because he wants his players feeling good about scoring goals. And he wants them being creative and being the artists they are. He's like, you don't buy a kid a $350 hockey stick and then tell him to stick check with it and poke check and defend and get in shot lanes. You buy a $350 stick, you want to shoot it and score goals. And so that's the way he practices. And so we saw a lot of like 5-on-2 type games, or he'll do a 4-on-2 power play game where he's just trying to get guys thinking creatively and jumping into spots and not worrying so much about structure. The one thing I hope to see out of this team in these last 2 series is just some confidence from Gruba, from Whipple, from Rombach, from McLaughlin. Getting involved 5-on-5 offense requires your defense to step into plays and take chances and count on your teammates to cover for you when you take those opportunities. So I'm really hoping to see in these last couple weekends that Minnesota invests in that and see what the returns are, because I think it's really hard to win games when you play 3-on-5 in the offensive zone.
Well, it's interesting. I was talking with Scott Slark's SID yesterday, Ben, and Minnesota has not been swept at Michigan, at Yost, since 1977. Granted, they didn't play a lot there for a long time.
Yeah.
And Bob has like some kind of like 8-2 type of record. Maybe some ties it. I'm not really sure, but Bob has been pretty successful there.
Yeah.
So I'm going to take some of that into account. They've done pretty well in that atmosphere.
Last year they went to both games went to overtime. So 3 of the last 4 games went to overtime and in the series. But at Yost last year, we did both games last year. I think we've done both games like for. And I don't think it's every year I've been at BTM, but I think it's most years I've been.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
And last year Michigan won the first game 3-2, and then. Now that it's finally over, I can say it without everyone cringing. It went to a shootout. Michigan won. I don't know what's crazier, the fact that
best stat
that
ever.
happened, or they were
ever.
first on the power play and last on the PK a couple weeks ago, or whatever that was, man. Just crazy.
Yeah.
But no, I mean, I think the Gophers are going to play hard, man. I think they are. I mean, Bob's a really good coach, and he's done this a long time, and he's got Killer and he's got Paul Martin, Ben Gordon, those guys. And, they're going to be ready to play. And, I can't tell you how much I really like this LJ Mooney. We've talked to him twice. We talked to him on Zoom a month ago, and we met him today. And I was like, man, I love this kid, man. He's going to be a gamer for them for whatever long he's around, which will probably be for, a couple more years, obviously. But great player, great kid, and really enjoyed talking with him and Brody Lamb today.
Viggs, I would say Mooney's a little different personality than his cousin, Mr. Cooley, too. He
Slightly.
is.
For sure. He's just so much more comfortable, like
he is
in his own skin, like even in practice. Like you just watch him and his body language about how he goes about his business and how he celebrates and how he picks other players up. You just can see that energy that's contagious. And you want as many of those guys on your team as you can. Because when you're going through a season like this, guys who just have that positive energy carries other people along with them. And you could just see when he plays with Brody Lamb and Brody Zemer, those guys, their dauber goes up a little bit too. You know, they feel that energy and they feel that confidence that LJ has. It was pretty funny. I took my kids to skate with the Gophers this last week. It was one of the things they did on their bye week. And I asked my son, and it's like, do you want any, pictures or meet anybody? He's like, I want to see LJ Mooney. And it's just like, I'm sure that's just common across every fan, every player. They want to be around people like that.
Well, Brody Lamb said, sorry, Jupe, but Brody Lamb said, I'm looking right off my board here. He said he's one of the best ever. He's a huge part of our team, and he lit up. I mean, he absolutely lit up when he was sitting in between Freddie and I, and he lights up the room, man. I mean, I was around Caulfield a few times, and I mean, those guys ain't big, man, but damn, they can play, man. And we'll watch them, today in the skate and just ripping down the sheet and firing the pill and just getting after it, man. I'm excited to see those guys go. And, again, 5-on-5's got to be better for them in this series. And if it is, I think they're going to be 2 tight games. I do. If they're not, I don't think they're both tight games. I think one's close and one's probably not so close. But I hope they're both overtime games, selfishly.
Viggs, you mentioned Brody Lamb there. He has really embraced his role at center. And I don't know if it was you that asked him yesterday or something. It might have been you, but he had never really played center much growing up at all.
Yeah, I was like, Bob had been saying that he'd been thinking about Brody at center for a while. I remember even talking to him last year about it, the center depth being an issue, when Paulson got hurt. He's like, well, Brody's kind of an option there. I'd like to see him there. He seems like he'd be a natural fit. But, when you have a player that's never tried it, you're just a little hesitant. And this year they kind of ran out of options. And so they put him in there, and it's worked really well because he's a big body. He's matured over the years. I think if he played center when he was younger, it might have been harder. But now that he's put in the time in the weight room, he's a mature physical guy who likes to be engaged. And I think a guy who plays better when he's engaged. And when you put him on the wing, he's not as involved. And I think it's harder to get in the games, especially when your season's not going as well. Well, now at center, he can just make an impact all over the ice. And he's looked really comfortable there. And I think a big key for Minnesota, if they're going to pull off any upsets, they have to get that line going, and they have to get defensemen getting involved in the zone with them. So, like when I see Minnesota do these 5-on-2 type drills, or these 4-on-2 type drills with a D and that line, that's what you're trying to foster. You're trying to get those guys thinking outside their structure, starting to make plays with each other. You get Gruba, you get Middlestat, you get Whipple, you get Rumbach, getting involved with those 3. That's a big plus for Minnesota.
Well, that Rombach's a big rig. I walked past him today, and I was like, whoa, you should be in the NBA, brother. Like, that kid is big, man.
A short little story, we've talked about a little bit this year. Viggs, you're what, 6'4"?
No, I'm like 6'2".
You're
sometimes
tall.
I feel like I'm 6'4" sometimes, but I'm 6'2".
He's tall. So at the World Junior Showcase this summer, we had them all the guys individually, and we literally had Mooney down here in one interview. The interview right before it, we had Rombach up here on Viggs. It was just shocking how different size those 2 guys are, Viggs.
It's pretty funny. I think in the Rombach family, Jacob's one of the few hockey players to come out of that group. I think baseball and basketball are bigger in that family. So funny to see. And he's one of those guys. I talked. Big guys take a little bit longer to bake. He's one of those types of players. I think his best hockey's ahead of him. He was a late to specialize in hockey player. He went to the development camp for Ann Arbor where they picked the team, and he really surprised. I don't think he was on a lot of people's radars because he didn't really come from a hockey factory, and he was probably on the fringe of being picked. where it's probably better that he went to Lincoln in the USHL and got to have a better role. If you go to the national team and you're kind of an underbaked guy, you just get stuck, 6th, 7th D. You're training with the great players and getting that experience, but you're not getting the ice time. You go into a USHL program, you get to play top 4 minutes. You get that experience. You play through the boo-boos and you figure it out. And he's had a rough stretch here for Minnesota, but he's a second round pick. I don't think anyone's going to be giving up on him.
Second rounder in Nashville. He might be playing in front of Jack Ivan Kovic before not too long. Easy for me to say. Yeah.
We'll have to see. So, Viggs, what's your prediction on the weekend?
Well, I mean, if we go back in that history and Minnesota hasn't been swept at Yost in forever, it's I got to think they get one game this weekend. I do think there's a chance it might just be 2 points, and that's what I'm going to go with.
Okay. You calling the games this weekend, Ben? From the rumor is, what happened to my camera else, and it just
2 overtime games.
There you go.
That's what I'm hoping for.
You're out for 2 overtime games. That's good enough for you, but it's your last series of the year.
Yeah, last for BTN. Yeah, my last series of the year. So,
but then you're doing some stuff with Pat with the CCHA. You got some rugby coming up. You're all over rugby, man.
I try, man. I try. Yeah. So there's no games on Big Ten Network the first weekend of March, the last weekend of the regular season. That's a programming thing with basketball. I think it's a women's tournament. And then no quarterfinals are going to be on Big Ten Network. They're all going to be on Plus. And then I would have been doing a semi, but I do a lot of work for World Rugby, and they asked me to do a gig back in mid-October. And had to take it. I'm going to New York for a World Sevens event. And so then I'll get one more hockey game with the pride of Hibbing, Minnesota. Either it looks like it's going to be at St. Thomas or Michigan Tech. So, if it's at Tech, I got an 8-hour drive. If it's at St. Thomas, I got an hour and 20-minute flight. St. Thomas
Bigs, we might have to have a little gathering post game.
I'm game for that. They started to sell alcohol at the Penny.
I saw that. Yeah. Down. So, we'll see. So, man, I'm excited to, anytime I get to go to Yost is a good night, man. I love doing games in there. It's without question one of the favorite rinks, stadiums that I've ever got to call games in my career. And I just love being in there, man. It's the history and just the place shakes and, the band's going, and it's a fun place to be, man. I'm very grateful that I get to still do what I do, and looking forward to Thursday and Friday, man. So it'll be nice to have another Saturday, Sunday off, boys. That's rare for me. So that's cool.
I don't mind it either. Last 2 series are Thursday, Friday weekends for us. Of course, all the teams are Thursday, Friday next week, just to prepare a little extra day before the Wednesday game. So that's going to be good as well.
Yeah.
It's going to be fun. I'm going to pick a split, straight up 3 points each.
All right.
I'm not going to get excited about it, though, because it's been like this all season.
Have some confidence, man.
People don't want us to make picks, Ben. People are like, you can skip the pick segment if you want.
But I give you guys credit for doing that, man, because you can take the easy road out and say, nah, we're not going to pick. I give you guys credit for doing that.
Yeah. We do what we do.
It's been a tough year for picking.
It has been a tough year.
Go back and do an audit of our picks this year and see.
I was going to say, is your pick percentage higher than the win percentage for the Gophers? Really? Wow.
We had Cappy on for
Ohio State. No wonder they don't want you to pick.
We had Cappy on for Ohio State. All 3 of us picked the Minnesota sweep.
Ouch.
Just the opposite. So
I remember that weekend. That's crazy, man.
Yeah.
I mean, that just shows you. I mean, again, I look at Notre Dame last week. I mean, they played toe-to-toe with State, and State didn't play their best game in game 1. But you just don't know. I mean, any given night.
It was the same thing. We had just kind of demolished Wisconsin here after part of their losing streak. And Viggs, honestly, we're just kind of throwing darts now, Viggs.
I'm trying not to make our listeners upset with me, basically.
I understand.
Yeah.
Because every
get
time
that.
I pick a sweep, it does not go well for Gopher Nation. So no more
Oh,
sweeps.
a certain ex-SID loves to poke at us when we pick wrong.
BD.
Yep.
BD. Yep. Happy birthday, BD, by the way.
Yeah.
Oh,
It's
it's
last
today.
It's just,
No, earlier this week. He
Oh, well,
chose to
happy
jump in
belated.
a frozen lake to celebrate.
He
So
what?
he jumped in a lake.
He
What?
did one of those
He did a polar plunge.
charity things. Yeah.
Oh yeah. Okay. Oof, he's a better man than I am. I don't know if I could do that. I'll skate. I'll play hockey 3-4 nights a week, but I won't jump in a frozen lake.
Stay above the
Yeah.
ice. Stay above the ice.
Oh yeah. Exactly.
That's right, man.
Well, Ben, you gonna keep with us for some overtime here? A little overtime,
Stick around for a few minutes. I could use a cig. I'll have with you boys in there.
huh? Where's Jared Klein? Is he not watching the show? I'm gonna be pissed if Jared.
Where's Cappy? Where's Cappy? Where's Micheletti? Where are these guys at, man?
Wow,
Let's go.
wait. Micheletti could be watching, but a lot of times he's like, "Oh, it's past my bedtime. It's past my bedtime." But then he'll comment on things, so I'm like,
No.
maybe it's not past his bedtime.
Next week might be past his bedtime.
I gotta take something up with him if he is watching. I'm curious why he put his picks out today, and I'm gonna give him grief when I see him if he's not watching this.
Mm-hmm.
But he put McKenna. His 4 picks were McKenna, Martone, Smith, and there's Jared, and LJ Mooney for his top 4 freshmen. I mean, I'm sorry, but how is Jack Ivankovic not on there?
Injury. Can't put him on there because of it.
You missed him. You missed 4 weeks, so you can't put him on there.
Yep, 4 weeks
Come
is the
on.
limit. It's the limit.
I'm giving him grief for that.
As you should. We give him grief for everything, so
Yeah, I know.
it's all fun.
We all love him though. I'm glad he's doing better, and I'm looking forward to seeing him for a couple nights. Him and Wally. Always love seeing Wally, and what a pro, man! What a pro that guy is, and always cool to see your group. And you mentioned Scott, man. Got to give him a shout out. He's a fabulous SID, and just a great guy. Fun to be around their team, and great to see Bob. It was fun to kind of chew it with him a little bit off the record on some stuff, and I'll leave it at that. But it was a good time. It was a good time seeing Bob. I've known him a long time, all the years of St. Cloud, and yeah, man, it's good to be around the guys.
Definitely fun. But so thanks for coming on the show, man. You're welcome back
Appreciate it.
anytime. It might be a short season this year with the Gophers. We'll have to wait and see. We'll keep doing shows as long as they keep winning. So that would be great. Viggs, anything going on that want to leave us with?
Just keep watching. Keep the faith on this. It's going to turn around at some point. So we're watching the development right now. That's key.
Yeah.
All right. Well, that's going to do it for this episode of the GPL podcast. We're going to be on a little later next week, more around 10:15-ish. Viggs got some coaching duties, so we're going to be on a little later next week. And then after that, we're going to be on the Monday because of a Wednesday series. So make sure you pay attention to the schedule there. For those of you watching live, stay tuned for overtime. For the rest of you, we'll catch you next week on the GPL podcast. If you are watching on YouTube, hit that subscribe button and get notified each time we go live or post a video. If you listen on Apple Podcasts or Spotify, please rate our show and leave a review. For those of you watching live, you know what's next. It's Vigo's Beverage of the Week. It's time for overtime.
Got my mic with this one a little bit. We got a little change of pace here. We got a barley wine aged in rye and bourbon barrels from Prize called Drops of Time. One of those things you got to be patient with.
Oh,
Get
look
a
at
little
that.
aggressive with my pour there, but I'll wait for it to settle and then I'll try it for you.
Come up here.
We got the pup joining us for OT.
I'm trying to get him up here, man.
I see him.
He's freaked out, man. I'll leave it open. He might come in. Sweet.
I've had a family member had a husky, and I had a Malamute myself. So,
Did you?
oh yeah, Malamute was great. He was a woolly, so he had the long fur, looked like a wolf.
Come on. They want to say hi to you.
I know that'll get Barb watching upstairs. She sees dogs, she loves it. She loves those Ohio State games when they have their dogs in the student section and stuff like that, or dogs in the arena. She always loves the dogs. So
yeah, he brought me his toy.
Time to play. Never bring it back to you.
Come here and say hi to the guys. Come here and say hi to the guys. Come here. Come up here. Come on. Come say hi to the guys. Might take a while. Thanks for having me on, fellas.
It's dogs.
Thanks for joining.
Oh yeah, man. I always love talking with you guys.
I'm glad Jared was there. He hadn't been chatting online. He's like, "Yep, Ben's agent is here."
Tell him I said thanks, man.
Oh, funny. We took a random trip up to Duluth a couple years ago. It wasn't the Gophers playing or anything. We were just randomly up there, and sure enough, Jared was up there staying in the same hotel we were. We ran into him along the, at the lift bridge there. It was awesome.
Yeah.
Hadn't seen him in a
cool.
while.
Yeah, I met him, I think it was 2 years ago, maybe. It was 2 or 3 years ago when I was down in Columbus with Pat. It was the year Freddie got COVID. I think it was a couple years ago.
Mm-hmm.
And I sat around. I told you guys I sat around with Frank and Wally for like 2 hours, man. And he came up. He was there, and it was cool to meet him. So, yeah.
Frank was there yesterday. He was there at the meeting.
Was he
snapping some photos? Yeah.
Frank
just hanging out, taking it in. He's got a lot of free time on his hands. Wants to be around the group again. Just like you're saying, it's like being around a hockey team is something you get used to, and just seeing that community and staying in touch with it, it helps you get older. I've always said, got to have community to get old.
Yeah, although I got a Peter Pan complex, so I refuse to admit I'm getting older, Veeks, but I know what you mean, brother.
Well, I'm sure like Paul Martin, he's been around teams his whole life. And, when he got separated from his teams, it was a tough time in his life. And now he's back with the University of Minnesota and helping out where he can and adding his wisdom to the mix. And, that's important stuff for, I think, everybody right now.
Yeah, I talked to him a little bit, just kind of off the record, just asking about some guys, just stuff I can watch for, and, you wonder about that. Like Freddie and I were talking about that, like the guys that played in the show like that. I mean, some guys go and coach, but a lot of guys don't because they just want to have their time, right? And, have their family and, in Paul's case, doing the stuff he does with his foundation and all that stuff, and which is cool as hell. And yeah, but I mean, what a great mind. Like he gave me a couple things to watch for and a couple guys. So, it's helpful.
Yeah, I think they need all the help they can get back there right now with that young guy development stuff.
Oh.
I was talking with some people about the D at Minnesota, and it's just like there's a little bit of timidness right now in their play. It's like they're just not putting themselves out there to even make mistakes sometimes. And I think when you're doing that, you're just setting yourself up to be playing on your heels all the time.
You're right.
It's hard to be successful. Like you have to learn how to touch the stove, how to get involved, how to take chances. If you're always just kind of saying, well, I don't want to get benched, I don't want my ice time taken away, I don't want to make mistakes, that's not winning hockey. That's slowly giving away your chip stack to the casino. You got to figure out when you're going to make your moves and when you're going to push in and get some of those chips back.
Yep. Yeah. I mean, you're right. And, you guys have probably talked at it ad nauseum, man, but just to think forget about more. I mean, obviously it would have been nice to have, but if you got Rinzel and Chesley back there, man, this is an entirely different team.
I think if you had Chesley back, it just makes everything easier. Just one right-handed D to let Gruba be down one step would have been huge. Rinzel would have been, a pipe dream. He'd be a Hobie candidate. I think if he came back after going through what he went through last year, he had that great first half, and then he just kind of stagnated. made a lot of mistakes, didn't seem to care about fixing them, and signed.
Yep.
You know,
And he's playing in the American League for the most part.
yep. Which is too bad.
But it is what it is, man. Like one of the things Bob said to us that day was when I mentioned about him at Munn and how positive he was, and he's like, we kicked a lot of people in the shorts for a lot of years. No one's going to feel sorry for us, boys.
Yeah, he's like, yeah, I got a phone call from the 218 with someone reminding me. It's like, we've all been through this. You haven't. So,
Yep. Yeah.
Good
I mean,
luck.
like I said, with State, man, I mean, you know, I've said it on record many times. For a decade, they were one of the worst 5 programs in the country. They couldn't get it right. You know, I mean, I don't know. I mean, what do they do? I don't see them letting him go. I mean, I don't think that's the answer personally, but I don't know. You guys know better than me.
Well, the thing is, it would help if it got to a Frozen Four. Losing in the regionals so far with these really good teams has not been great.
I get it.
Maybe that luck will change this year.
Yeah, I mean it's tough, man. It is, but yeah, I don't know, man. But he was in rare form today. It was pretty funny.
it's interesting. Bob just feels kind of at ease with where the team is, which is hard, I think, for a lot of fans to believe.
I'm sure.
I think developing players is fun for him as a coach.
Mm-hmm.
You know, and so he's kind of in that mode right now where he's just focused on that and not about anything else. And you know, he's coached long enough where he can kind of say, "Oh, that's noise. I'm not going to worry about that. I trust my eyes. I trust my brain. You know, I don't need your input on this stuff. I'm going to figure it out." And it's like they must see enough signs that they think they're going to be okay. They just got to get to that recruiting class 2 years from now. You know, that's going to help if they can get guys to stick around to transition those guys in. It's going to work. I just worry that they have more early departures that they don't expect. Because I've had a lot of offline discussions with people the last couple of weeks about, you know, what's the state of college athletics. I don't think players are necessarily being very transparent with their coaches about what they're doing.
I agree with you.
Their agents are saying, don't say a thing. And the players all of a sudden go, okay, well, now it's time. I want to do something different. And it's never been easier for them to do that than now.
All right, I was looking down at the roster, so let's prognosticate here a little bit. I mean, honestly, who leaves early? I mean, Zemer's the only one in my mind. You know the team better than me, but I mean, anybody else leaves early, they're crazy. And I don't even think Zemer should leave.
But you know, it's not just that. I would agree with that.
Are they going to transfer?
And that's the worry.
That's the worry, I think, more than leaving NHL. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
And you know, Usjo was putting out a story yesterday saying, "Hey, NCAA's looking down, frowning upon, you know, these planned transfers." I mean, what was it last year? The kid from North Dakota, they knew he was gone in January.
Laver. Yeah.
Well,
what you guys know? Tell me the story because I want to know. I didn't really know until know anything of like that there was any inkling of it. Just a couple tweets I've seen and take those for what they're worth. But so was there? Have you guys heard there was any kind of tampering with Howard at Duluth? Viggs, you ever heard anything on that?
I heard that Howard wasn't a good fit for Sandlin more than anything. And that
he played for Knights.
Yeah. So I think that was it more than anything. It was just like, I'm not happy here. You're not happy with me here. Let's go separate ways.
Okay.
And I think that was a long brewing decision about where to go. And just the comfort level with Knights made it obvious, I think.
But you never heard anything per se about like he was tampered with.
No.
Yeah,
I heard that he was out early. He's just like,
yeah.
I'm moving on. Yeah. This isn't working.
Yeah.
Just like Strammel at Wisconsin. Like this isn't working. Like it's not good for you. It's not good for me. There's options. Let's change things up. Let's not try to force this to happen.
And And you guys are right, man. Like seeing him the last 2 years as much as I've seen him, man, it's like, holy shit.
He has grown.
Fuck. I mean,
that was a really good transition for him last year, I'd say.
Oh.
He wasn't there yet, but you could see it. And this year, it's just been night and day.
And sorry, I was just going to say real quick, and he had Howard Howard was the stud of that team, right? So he could he wasn't the primary guy last year.
And I don't think he's talked about this very much, but I've heard from enough people that I believe it, is that there was a dip in his off-ice work ethic at Wisconsin.
Trammell?
Yeah.
They call him the Greek Adonis now.
Yeah. But now, like,
They
they've
do.
been like, they
I'm just
convinced
closing the door.
him, for you to be effective, you need to do this. But at Wisconsin,
for sure, dude.
you know, when things weren't going well, he was the kind of guy who said, I'm not as invested as I was. I'm not going to put in the time. I'm not going to keep this going. And when big guys do that, it's a recipe for disaster. You know, all of a sudden you can't skate as well. You can't endure the shift very well. You can't compete.
Yep.
And I think that's a little bit what happened to him there. And, you know, he just got rejuvenated at Michigan State. And Knights, you know, knew the buttons to push and the relationship to Stoke, and it worked out well for him.
Yeah, all those guys talk about Will Morlock. I mean, you guys got Cal, of course. He's been there forever. Carmi talks about him when he played there. You know, Michigan's got their guy. Everybody's got their guy, right? But they give so much credit to Morlock, man, for, you know, the condition they're in. And, like, Jared DeMichael told us that, I think it was last year. He's like, oh, man, he looks like a fucking Greek Adonis, man, with his shirt off, boys. Like, the guy's ripped. He's shredded, man. So we've dropped that in a couple times, just having fun. But, yeah, no, you're right. To your point, man, he's bought in. He's changed his body, and, you know, he's turned himself into a pro. So it's cool to see for them.
Yeah, one of Bob's funny lines is like, yeah, you notice that Brody Lamb has his shirt off a lot more these days than he did when he was a freshman.
Yeah. He's
proud of the work he's put in. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. No, that's great, man. It's cool.
It's fun to see.
Yeah.
Well, that's part of college, you know, it's like figuring that stuff out. You know, none of these kids know all the answers, and it takes them a little while.
Yep. Some guys it does, man. Some guys it does. I love Middlestat too, man. Like, you know, plays a ton of minutes, obviously, but just I like watching him play. I like his game. And I mean, Paul said to me, he's like, he's going to play in the league, man. Like, without hesitation, he's like, he's going to play in the league, man.
He is going to be a depth guy that every coach can just rely on, because he competes so hard and he doesn't make many mistakes.
Yep.
And if he does have a situation where he doesn't have a good play, he knows the next play. You know, this might not be a positive play, but it's not going to hurt me. And he just competes and battles enough where, you know, I think his foot speed is like a limiter for him at a high level, but I think he's going to be able to do enough to earn a trust and a spot. You know, he could be like a Jake Middleton type player who can just support somebody.
Yeah.
It'll be interesting to see how he does, because I don't think Montreal knows what they have in him. So it might not be there, but it could be somewhere else.
Yeah.
You know, I see this post, you know, you talk about the Adonis, and I remember what Andrew's talking about. I remember when we'd hear Adonis talk about Okposo.
You wouldn't want to be in a dark alley with that guy.
Yeah, so there's some Woogisms about that. Doug Woog said this on a broadcast, a couple different things. One thing he says when describing Kyle Okposo, he's like an oak tree with arms, whatever that means. And here's another one that Wooger said on the air. I'd hate to get caught in a dark closet with him with no shirt on. Oh,
that's classic.
Oh, the Wooger.
Wooger mixing so many things together in that one. It's just like,
that's funny. Okay.
And that was what made Mazzacco and the Wooger so great on television, because you just never knew where they were gonna go. Because
Carmi's supposed to get Okposo on, man. We're supposed to get him and Shaddy on, but they're ghosting their former teammate.
Well, if you ever get Okposo on, you'll have to ask him about the year in middle
Hey,
school
get out of there.
that he didn't play hockey for a year and he played
Really?
basketball.
He played
kidding.
basketball for a year.
He played basketball for a year because I think he had like some sort of
Hey.
thing where he didn't want to play for like the Youth Hockey Association.
Get out.
There's like a lot of drama around it, so he's just like, screw it, I'm gonna play basketball for a year.
Really?
I know Paul.
Are you guys the same age, Viggs?
Pretty close.
You gotta be close,
Are you?
yeah.
Yeah, we're pretty close. So that's kind of
Okay.
my era of rumor mills. Well, I remember Paul was
bring it
a
up.
big basketball player too.
Martin.
Paul
Well,
Martin.
Martin did everything. I mean, come
Yeah.
Played
on.
football too, right?
Yep, he was like an all-state wide receiver. He probably could have been
Yeah.
all-state basketball.
He held the
player, too.
reception record for like 10 or 15
Mhm.
years of receptions by a receiver in the
Yeah.
state.
Yeah.
Yeah,
No, I'll definitely ask him about that. I'll bring up the Wooger line too, man. Now that I know that.
The funny thing is we kind of heard from Oposo after Zemer's between the legs goal. I think it was against Wisconsin, was it, Viggs? I think it was against Wisconsin. And he just put
Yeah.
out a big eyeballs because he did it
Oposo
against Oposo did it back in 05 against Mankato at Mankato.
I saw the clip. It circulated after Zevers. Yeah. That's cool. Yeah, I've never met. I did one game Kyle played in, and it was at Munn when I called the game from a bench, from the state bench.
Jeez.
And I remember Abdulkader skating up. They're like, holy shit, you're calling the game down here, Benny. Because I knew I was doing like 15, 20 of their games a year. So I knew all their dudes. And I said, yeah. And if you got a hit on somebody and it's right in front of me, your ass better lay up because I don't want them in my shoes.
Hey,
Because I had no
That's-
room
that's-
there. I was
that's part of the game, man. Yeah, you saw I got hit just a couple weeks ago with
Dude,
Whipple getting
no,
hit right in
man.
front of me.
so that Joker stole your video and then pulled it right down.
He did. Some guy did post on the internet or on what was it? It might have been,
It was on
Instagram.
Instagram.
And Ben's
Yeah.
texting to him like, I didn't give anyone permission to do that.
'Cause
And
I knew
commented and it was gone real quick.
I knew it was you because Freddie and I did. I think that was the night of the state game with Michigan downtown, and I went back to Freddie's and we watched the end of the game, and we saw it. And so
You're like,
I
I know
saw
that haired guy out there.
I know
I
that
knew
guy.
the video was you. Well, yeah, I saw you, and I
It's
knew
right
it was
there,
you.
yeah.
Man. Yeah. So that's funny.
Yeah, because I've been starting to, attach my my phone to the top, just recording because you never know.
Sweet.
You're not going to put this stuff out because there's way too much swearing and
Yeah.
a lot of stuff you don't want. But those kind of instances like that, I want to be able to capture those, and I got lucky that night. So
You guys are the media there, man. I heard Vig's running the press conference. You're doing all kinds of shit in there, man. I'm like, where's the rest of the media in Minneapolis?
you should have seen it other times this year. Before football ended, there were times where several times I'd go down after the game, and I'd be the only one there.
Come on.
Mm-mm.
That's hard to believe for a minute. Is it been like that for years?
This
Well,
year, I think is worse than
Well,
last
the Daily
couple.
hasn't been there either.
Yeah, the
It's
Daily
been-
hasn't
it's-
been there.
Minnesota
It's
Daily.
incredible, man.
And the thing is, if I watch the entire game, I can ask intelligent questions.
Mm-hmm.
But when I'm shooting,
Yeah, it's hard.
I just don't see the big. It's just hard for me to
Yeah.
understand. So I just give them some generic things. I'm like, I'm not going
Yeah.
to keep you, Bob, because I'm not going to do that. Just
And especially if they lose, you're just like a little nervous to ask a question.
oh gosh,
And-
yes.
Oh yeah.
Because you did that once this year. You're like, I probably shouldn't have asked that. Because Bob
Yep.
got a little heated right away. It's always different talking to a coach when they win or when they lose. And,
Oh yeah.
Scott
Yeah, but,
Sandlin was always a tough one when they lose.
Yeah. See, I've been out of that side for so long, man. Like, it's different. We go in to call a game. We're not viewed as the evil media, right? We're their friends, so to speak. It's different. I mean, I was that on that side for a long time, and all the years in Lansing. I mean, Tom Izzo wanted to kill me more than once. Believe me. I mean, but yeah, it's tough, man. It blows me away. Like, I mean, even the Washington Post is cutting their sports. I mean, it's insane, man. It's crazy.
Well, just what was it last season? Todd Molesky comes up here all the time. He's following the Badgers. He's with the Badgers.
Yeah,
And they weren't going to send him up here last year.
that's amazing.
And then Vegas is like, look behind him. Vig's got that bed. He's like, Todd, you know what? Come on up. You can just stay in the bed. He's like, think. And he did come up, didn't he, Viggs? And he covered the team.
And he got me some
going up there
Caulfield Lager and
yeah.
Nice.
But that's how bad it is.
I mean, Michigan. So we were down there Tuesday, and they got like I think there were 5 writers from the Michigan.
Were they all from the Daily?
Yup, all of them, boys. Everyone.
They were all at Mariucci in January.
Yeah,
5 of them.
They walked out, and Freddie and I were on the couches in the corner talking to. I think we were talking to Rassi at that point or whatever, and I was like, "All right, what's the big story?" And they all started telling me what they were writing. You know what they were covering. So they do a good job. I mean.
They try to get 4 seats in the press box or 4 or 5 seats, and
oh yeah,
Slark's like I can't accommodate this many people. It's just so they might get 1 or 2 seats, but there was 5 of them here in January, 4 writers and 1 photographer.
Wow. Damn. I mean, Michigan State's pretty similar. I mean, they've got Graham Couch. If you guys have seen him, I've known him forever. He started in Kalamazoo. He's like a columnist at the Journal. He's always there. And then Connor Eargood's kind of he does everything. He does football, basketball.
Yeah. We've had him on the podcast. Yeah.
You've had Connor on?
Yeah, we've had Connor.
He's a former Daily alum. He's a good dude. I did a pod. Me and Cappy did a pod with him a month or so ago.
He's one of my favorite Michigan Daily guys. So
yeah,
he got the seal of approval because he had the right attitude towards everything. I feel like sometimes it's a little difficult with the young players, like trying to figure things out, as they are starting their media journey. But Connor got it. Yeah, no, he does. You're right. But they've been up at State, like with those guys, and there's a couple other guys. They have a fair amount of media up there too, man. So but yeah, it's baffling about Minnesota, but I get it. I mean, it's a tough year, but still, I mean, it surprises me.
That doesn't help either, Viggs. Down year. No. Yeah, it's just the way it is. Yeah, we get Randy from the Strib coming a little bit more now that football's down, but he's also been covering basketball games and things like that. And Jess has moved over to doing the Wild. Yeah. The Pioneer Press. So, he's not around as much anymore. So it's quiet down there. So I had a long one-on-one with Bob a couple weeks ago that people
good for you
to, and it was good for me.
Yeah.
And he kind of went into a deep dive with Wally on his radio show about, the guys not telling them that they were leaving. And he's like, we got caught with our pants down. And he's like, we got kicked in the stones. And, I started asking him about that. And, people who don't see us talk every week are like, oh, Viggs asking the tough questions. It's like, no. we're being fair. We're covering what's relevant. We're trying to give the fans a perspective on what's happening this year. Like, this is very unusual for Gopher hockey. So, help us understand like what's going on in college hockey, why this happened, what you're doing about it, and how you feel about it.
Yeah.
There's no animosity there.
Yeah.
I remember one of my favorite moments. He likes you, Viggs. He will give you more benefit of the doubt because he likes you because you're you're more fair than a lot of guys. Yeah, I remember Jason Gonzalez asking Don Lucia, like point blank, like, what's your buyout? And Don going back to Jason, like, well, what's your buyout? Just getting into it with each other, like petty,
Well, you're right, Jupe. Like, he likes him, but he respects you guys. Like, I mean, Freddie and I were talking about that today, we got a little sappy there because we knew it was the last time we were going to work together this season. I go, man, these guys love when we come to their practices, man. They respect the hell out of that because they know you're doing your homework, and they can trust you. It's same for me as it is for you guys and the stuff you guys do. So that's part of the fun of what we do, right? Being around the guys, being in the rink, and I mean, the 2 years I spent in the American League, I missed that job. I missed that feeling of getting on the bus or the plane and you're all one step from the National Hockey League and this might be the game, there's something special about that. And, for me, the last few years, most of my years are not that way. Like, I traveled alone for a long time. It's like you're fending for yourself. You better be on your shit or you're going to get replaced. But it was just being a part of the team and being in the rink every day. I love that, man. It's something I miss.
I totally get that.
Yeah. So
And and that's why Biggs and I, we've always enjoyed, going to the regionals too,
yeah.
or Frozen Four, because you're just running into the same people who love this sport and might be covering other teams, but they love the sport just like we do. And you go out and have a beverage, post game, or if it's just talking between periods, down in the media room with all those people.
Yeah.
It's my favorite time of year.
Yeah, World Juniors was kind of neat being here, like just seeing the media descend. And it was a little different because you get like the Canadian media. It's a very different feel than the college hockey media. It's very much more of like that Toronto type market where it's very aggressive and scoopy and insidery, which is different than college. So,
yeah,
but it was interesting to see as well.
That's cool. You guys covered the whole thing, right?
Biggs did.
Yeah, I was there for a lot of it. So
good for you, man.
It was fun.
That's cool. I've never been to one. That's awesome.
I just wish the Gophers and Bob had a little bit better roster and more support and didn't have the injury issues that they did. And it just was too much to overcome for this year. So
yeah,
that part was the only downside.
But it was kind of little expected. It was a down couple of years with the U.S. after obviously very strong years. We kind of saw it even before the summer showcase that you were even saying, they're not going to be as good. It's going to be more difficult for them to be up there.
But when their best player and their most irreplaceable player gets hurt with a shot of a puck to the back of the neck, that's like if LJ Mooney was out for the rest of the year, you'd be like, well, this team's probably not going to be able to pull off a playoff upset without LJ. Or if Luke Middlestat were to go down, there's just not a player to replace them right now.
Slarks was saying Canada had 4 locker rooms for World Junior.
Yeah, all over at Ritter.
They basically took over Ritter. They took over the whole side.
That's what he said, yeah.
Well, it was funny during the showcase. They were warming up in the lobby of Ritter, playing like sewer ball and doing sprints and stuff. And I heard somebody say, the only other team that would be arrogant enough to just do that would probably be Michigan.
There's probably some truth to that.
Well, it was kind of neat because, they could go over to Mariucci at the time and they had it all. It was just no ice or anything. It was wide open. They had workout equipment actually on the ice surface or on the surface.
The concrete.
On the concrete. And, and that's where all kind of the media stuff was as well. But I think they were taking up quite a bit of space there as well. But then when the juniors happened and they were at Mariucci, they took over Ritter, and because they didn't get the number 1 locker room because Finland had first choice, so they were in the nice Gophers locker room.
Yeah, he was telling us a little bit about that, and just like he said, it was his first experience of seeing the Canada and USA hockey head to head, and he's like, oh my God, what a bunch of petty assholes everybody was. So, but hey, we showed him. Yeah,
damn right. Finally, I was watching. You watch some of the coverage Vigs, and you look at the sideline. You see who's on the bench after Team USA. There's Fish and there's Van Beesbrook. I'm like, we just saw all these guys,
all the same guys. Yeah. There was a really interesting article on CHN with Jeff Jackson this week, talking about development program and its impact. And I thought that was really interesting. And one of the things they brought up is one of the ideas was to have a development league run by USA Hockey. And I think the one criticism for me about the Ann Arbor program or the Plymouth program has been how small it is. And you're investing so much money into 40 players across 2 age groups. And I just wish sometimes that got spread out a little bit more. Because we talk about a guy like Rombach. If he would have gone to the program, he would have been pigeonholed as like a 6th, 7th D, and it would have been hard for him to keep developing. Or you look at a guy like Ryan Lindgren. He's carved out a career in the NHL, but when he got put on a roster with Adam Fox, it's like you're always going to be a supporting D that's going to be defensive, and that's just the role he's played ever since. and he left early from the U and he never got the chance to do power play and stuff like that. Or Brock Faber, he didn't even get to play power play at the U because of Jackson Lacombe, really. And so
that's hard to believe.
He goes to the Wild and, they need a guy to play power play and he just steps in and he can do it. That's pretty rare,
Yes.
So I always think about, how could that be done differently so you could develop even more players? Because what if the 8U numbers for the U.S. gets to like 200,000? You're going to have more than 40 players that deserve that kind of opportunity at that point.
Yeah.
So how do you expand it? Because it's been really successful. I mean, USA Hockey the last 20 years at the World Junior level has just been on the up and up, and that's only going to impact World Championships and Olympics going forward now. Could be the USA run here.
Let's hope. Mooney said he went to a couple summer camps at Michigan way back when. So I'm sure Freddie will drop that in at some point if he scores.
How come he didn't end up there? That's the next question, right?
I wasn't interested. He was really little. He said he was like 8 or 9 when he went. He was really young. So yeah, it wasn't like, teen years. It was really young. So
it was the closest.
Which he still looks like he's 5 anyway. I
can't get over how little he is, man. But
well, the photo of my son with him, my son's bigger than LJ.
Is he? How old's your son?
He's 13.
and he's all right. How tall is he?
He's like 5'6".
So. Is he? Yeah, he might be 150 pounds, man, if he's that.
The way he moves, though, like his edge work and the way he accelerates out of turns reminds me of Hughes. Like, I know he doesn't do it like as much as Hughes, but you just see his escapability and the way he sees the ice. Like, I feel like I'm the only person talking about it. It's like I see Mooney and Hughes on the power play as like the same kind of guy. And Hughes does it all over the ice, but they both do it when they hold the puck at the top of the zone and they get pressure. It's unique. It's a unique skill.
You see, I see him more out there just the way he skates. He literally and handles the puck. He looks like Phil Kessel out there. The way he's hunched over, he looks like Phil Kessel. The stick control and just the way he controls the
He's
puck.
very wide all the time.
Yeah.
Which I think
that's what Phil was.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like he's just very stable and agile. I've been looking deep dive into like skating techniques. And like as players like maintain speed, they're putting a lot of heel pressure into their skate as they do these moves. And that's kind of a modern skating thing. Like a lot of people, it's deep, tight turns where their blades are really cutting the ice. Well, these smaller players, they put more heel pressure in, so their blade is more even on the ice. So as they come out of the turn, they have more speed because they haven't cut so much into the ice that they can turn effectively, but they maintain more speed with their glide. And you just see it with guys like LJ, and it's something to watch.
We need to fly you in and throw you between the benches for that kind of analysis, bro. That's top flight shit right there, dude.
I keep saying,
good.
They keep switching radio guys out. I'm like, I think Vic should be on Gopher Radio.
Push for it, man.
I'm busy with my teams. My daughter's scrappy team won their district title this year, and
cool.
We're like the Mighty Ducks. We're northeast Minneapolis, the poor kids. We just play hockey during the winter. We value that outdoor ice time, and we beat like the top 3 seeds, 1, 2, 3 in the district, and that was pretty fun.
So you won last night then?
Yeah, in overtime.
Oh, nice.
Which was crushing.
He was a little nervous just at media because I gotta do this, gonna go over, get the coach tonight. He had his coach vest
I was all ready to go.
He
had a tight timeline.
Nice. Love it.
It was really fun. My daughter was in happy tears after the game because it meant a lot to her. It's like, it's youth hockey. It's fun. But my son's team lost the district championship.
How old's your daughter? Sorry.
She's 11.
Okay.
So tough weekend for the household with one losing in OT and one winning in OT in the championship games. So, but
your son's still alive though.
Still,
But I
alive.
mean, their team is still alive. They're playing something next week.
Yeah,
as well?
they get into another tournament because they finished top 2, and Minnesota hockey's trying to do a thing where they get teams playing in one more tournament at the end of the year. So
Okay.
So-
Which is why we're a little later next week.
Yep, I'm still coaching. So hopefully not 4 rinks in one day like I did the other day.
It's a lot of work, man.
It's fun though.
Yes.
It's really fun.
Yes.
Yeah,
Coming to an end, though. Coming to an end. Big. Oh.
Studying up, huh, Ben?
No, I just had it out just in case.
Yeah.
I still remember the time Freddie gave me this up at Munn, but
Yeah, but do you have a signed Frank Mazzacco
No, I don't have
MSC
that.
card?
That's sick.
I pull that out once in a while just to embarrass Frank.
That's cool. We when I was first time I worked with Micheletti, I probably told you guys a story, but my gal Owens came with me. We had Omaha at Nodak, and then we did Minnesota at Cloud Friday, Saturday. It was a great weekend. And so I met Mick at the airport, and Minnie, and we get on the little flight up to Grand Forks, and I'm sitting in like row 2 with Owens, and he gets on and he goes, "Hey, if you need some more reading material, here's a media guide." And I didn't know much about Pat. This was in like 2016. And so I thumbed through it, and I get to the scoring leaders in the back, and I looked and I was like, this fucking sandbagger, man. He was second all time in scoring. I didn't know he was that good. So I waited for him to come. I go, "You sandbagger," and I threw the media guide at him. But I think he's second in PIMS too, right?
Yep.
I'm pretty sure he is.
Yeah, he probably
Nice.
is.
Love it. Love
Carmi.
it.
Found this when I was
Oh, I
cleaning
know.
out my basement.
A
You
Carmen? Look
dude,
at that.
would you mind taking a picture of that and texting it to me, Viggs, or emailing it?
Text it to
Both
Carmen
sides.
too.
Yeah,
Right now.
can do.
I'll use that.
What's your
sometime. That's
pregame
great.
routine? I listen to my iPod.
Hey, at least it wasn't a Sony Walkman or something like
That's
that.
amazing.
Oh,
That's
my
amazing.
gosh.
Listen to
I'm
my
pretty
iPod.
sure. That's great. Yeah, when you get a chance, no rush.
I wish
So
you
let's see.
could say I was listening to my Zune, but
That's funny.
iPod works.
100-point Golden Gophers. Good God. Yeah, 269 points. He's behind. We all know who he's behind. Corey Millen, third. All right, where's the PIMS?
Is that DeMarkey? Does DeMarkey lead that though? I
I'm
thought
trying to
DeMarkey
think.
Pims?
If it was.
Yeah.
Hold on. Give
Not
us
seeing
one
it.
more second. McAlpine? No.
He
You know,
was
I
a
could
rugged dude.
I could actually look it up if I just.
No, we're trying to test our memory here, Jupe.
Oh, my memory stinks. Don't
Is it
torture me.
Pitlick? Is it Lance Pitlick?
Lance Pitlick. Wow.
You guys would know way better than me.
So Steve thinks DeMarkey, McAlpine.
Yes, he's Pat's third.
Lance is 9th. he's got it up there.
Yep. Hankinson racked them up too, man. Both of them.
Big Ben, or is it Peter?
Ben's fourth, Casey's fifth.
That's hard to believe with Casey. He was such a baby face in college.
Yeah, Mick had 403 pins.
Probably
and
why I got so
200
many pins.
269 points. I mean, that's impressive. That is impressive. Second all time in goals, too, right? Yeah, 120 goals. That's insane, man. He was a player. It's funny, man.
It's fun. I could just imagine being in a net battle with Pat. Just every once in a while. Now he's getting his strength back. He'll show it off. He'll grab me by the arm. He's like, "This team, I tell ya." Drop a little insight.
He from what the little bit I've seen of like clips here and there, when I've looked him up in the past. He's like George Costanza. He fights dirty.
Yes. Yep. He was a dirty fighter, I think. It was not going to be, hey, I'm going to hit you, defend
Well,
yourself.
doesn't he have like 6 brothers or something like that?
Yeah, he's like the littlest of all the.
Yeah, so he got the shit kicked out of him his whole childhood. So I'd be pissed off too.
Up on the Iron Range, too. So
Yeah, but the thing is, his brothers have titles, though. Joe's got titles. Don's got title. Pat does not.
Pat's interesting because he played in the coaching transition, and he was used to playing as much as he wanted to and doing whatever he wanted to on the ice, and that was not the routine.
Yep.
That was under Buto, wasn't it, when he first got there? Yeah.
Yep.
That was a bit of an adjustment for him.
Yeah.
How did his Hibbing Blue Jackets do tonight? Anyone keeping a score, eye on the score? What happened with Hibbing tonight?
I saw on Twitter they won.
They looked really good earlier.
I think Pat had a tweet I looked at before I got on. Let's see.
Well, they won in overtime, actually.
There you go.
Up at Amsoil?
Yeah.
Who'd they beat?
5 seconds left in the OT.
Wow. Hibbing won. Yeah.
Cloquet.
One
of the best logos in sport.
What is it?
Cloquet lumber. It's an old purple and gold lumberjack.
Like swinging the axe?
No, just like smiling with a big beard.
Really?
Just super simple and old.
Nice. I love that, man. I said to Lamb today because I was asking him about, if he knew Ernest, and he said no. He said he knew Shifsky. He played against him, and I said, man, I've been saying it for all the years I've been doing this sport, man. There ain't no better state than Minnesota for high school hockey, man. They got to figure it out, man.
Keep everybody playing as long as you can, as many as you can,
It's all the freaking travel teams here, man, and kids bouncing around, and, it's just too much of that shit, man. It's not like when we were younger where, you made a commitment and, that's sick. That is sick, boys. That is badass.
Okay.
I love that.
The Cloquet Lumberjacks.
That is awesome. Derek Plant. I thought it used to be Derek Plant, but it sounds like it's Plant now. He played at Cloquet, right?
I think so.
I'm pretty sure he did.
His kids had played it. His kids didn't, though.
His kids played at Hermantown.
Oh,
Hermantown knocked out early. What a shame that is.
Who whacked them?
Sorry, I did that.
No?
I don't know who they beat. But...
Knocked them out.
Wow.
I should.
Yeah, they're a factory. That place. Are they like the most?
Yeah, people have been off to that for a while. Like they should be up in AA. It's a whole controversy, but
what do they play? What level?
Derek Plant played for Cloquet.
Hermantown's Class A, and
Cloquet took out Hermantown.
Is Hermantown like? Are they putting? I know all the Duluth guys, but are they like have they taken over like Edina in terms of the amount of guys, or is Edina just too big?
Well, they just had that whole kind of Duluth
connection.
Hermantown is like the suburb of Duluth where everyone was going to play. Because Duluth East had a run where they had a bunch of down years. So a lot of the kids from Duluth would go to Hermantown to play Class A hockey.
Who's the guy that played at Omaha whose dad was a coach there? It wasn't Gensel. It was there was another Omaha player. His dad was a coach at Duluth East forever. If you said his last name, I'd know.
Randolph
the player
is the
coach. Yes,
Randolph was at Duluth East for a long
time. Yeah,
Jake Randolph, I want to say, that played at Omaha.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. I mean, he didn't play. I don't think he played after college, but yeah, I just knew that school from remembering that.
Yeah, Randolph ran a very systems-heavy program at Duluth East, which scouts didn't like because kids didn't develop, but they got to the state tournament like every year because you couldn't score on them, and they'd have a couple guys who could score, and they would let one line just be free and score all the goals.
Be hard.
3 lines just check,
and then just clamp it
to play against. Yeah.
So
it was really hard to play against them.
And
it worked. to get them to the tournament, but parents were frustrated about the structure of the routine. And so
sounds like Notre Dame.
yeah.
You're
And
not
so
wrong.
hockey in the area, a lot of kids went to Hermantown to develop.
Got it.
And now Marshall's got a bunch of players there now. So it's an interesting landscape up there. But Duluth East is the big school, Cake of the North.
Yeah, okay. I still want to come to a game at Warroad. Telling Jess Myers for a decade, man. Make it happen.
He probably gets you on the jet.
Dude,
The Marvin
100%.
Jet.
The Marvin jet. He probably gets you up there.
So what's better to do them and do they play Edina?
Not in a state championship.
So it'd be
No,
Warroad,
they're
Roseau.
Class A.
They're
Roseau's
Warroad and
double A.
Roseau would be the game.
Yep.
Yeah,
correct. Yeah.
that would be insane. I'd love to do that. I'm doing a
Might be,
couple.
might be too
games
cold for you, man.
No, I can handle it. I'm doing a couple in our tournament, but our tournament's at USA Arena. That's where they play it. So, which, it's cool for the kids, but, we can't do what you guys do, man. We couldn't sell out Little Caesars. We put
The
3,000
deck,
people
the
in
deck,
there.
well, not the deck. The Amsoil looked packed at that Hibbing game tonight.
Oh, it always is.
Yeah.
For the
Oh, yeah?
section
That's
games,
what's
yeah.
that?
That's amazing.
That's 6,000 people.
Yeah,
Was it
that's
five,
crazy.
5.5?
Those games, those section finals. Sometimes the section finals are better than the quarterfinals.
Yes.
Like tonight was Wayzata Edina at Ritter, and I've been
It
out of
was
touch
sold
because
out.
I had a hockey practice tonight, but I'm sure that was a big one.
They could have.
Wow.
We were kind of surprised that they didn't go to Mariucci because they could do pretty good job filling it up.
Really?
Oh yeah.
Wow. That's
I
so
mean,
cool,
they used
man.
to have section finals at Met Center in Bloomington back in the day. That's just it was 15,000. They wouldn't have that
Right.
many, but they'd have like 2 afternoon games. Like you'd have a 1 and like a 4 or maybe an 11 or 3 or something like that, and you'd have all the big schools playing there. Section
Wow.
finals to go to state, and I'd go there back in the 80s, and sure enough, you probably have 10, 11,000 people there that day to see 2 games. I've
That's
seen
so cool,
Mariucci packed to the. I've seen the fullest I've ever seen Mariucci was those double header section finals. It was like Edina and Wayzata, and it was like Apple Valley and Jefferson, and it was just packed. Craig Flores says they got in trouble from the fire marshal at one point because they had let 12,000 people in that one day, and they're not. That's
Yeah,
Even with
Apple
the-
Valley was playing somebody, and
It was Apple
were-
Valley, Jefferson, and Edina,
Yeah.
like Wayzata or something like that. It was just
like the 6AA semifinals this year. Rogers, Wayzata, Edina, Holy Angels. Those are like 4 of the top 10 teams in the state.
Mhm.
So like just getting through that section is basically like winning a state tournament.
Mhm.
Yeah. The best one here they've basically made it impossible for the best 4 teams to meet because I think 3 are in one bracket.
Yeah.
It's like, what are we doing, man? Like,
Yeah.
and one of them is a Catholic school who wins. I think they've won like 18 of the last 20. Yeah, they're talking about going private, public in the state and everything.
And look, speak of the devil. Look at that. There's Craig Floor himself. Craig's a loyal watcher, listener, especially live.
So
I mean, he's probably. Oh yeah, his night's probably done. So they're done at Ritter. So
yeah, I'm pretty much cooked, boys.
yeah, I am too.
Speaking of
Tired.
public privates, 2 privates played each other in 4AA. Gentry beat Hill Murray tonight.
Hill Murray knocked out.
I didn't know Hill Murray's private.
Yep.
That's
Wow, I didn't
Rollick's
know that.
team. That's Rollick's team.
I always thought they were public.
No.
Wow, I didn't know that.
Mr. Ohio State coach. He was the. I'm pretty sure he went to Hill Murray himself.
I think
He
you're
was the-
right.
He was the coach at Hill Murray back in the early '90s when my Jefferson team took him out in a state championship game. So
Crispy Rollick, that's what I call him. He's always crispy.
Hopefully
I
we
give
find
Cat-
out next week if he gets his new rink.
oh, they got to get one there. That would be so nice.
They should be a top 10 program. I've been saying that for years, man. They should consistently be a top 10 program. How they're not, I don't know. Probably because of funding and shit like that, right?
Well, it's
Priorities. They wanted to win
it's
that
crap.
national football championship. So,
Yep. Yeah.
All right, stay on just a bit here. We're going to say goodnight to the folks. We're going to make sure we got your full upload there, Ben. But good night, everyone. We'll catch you next week. Dirt. Oh, you got to have some dirt, right? No dirt?
I mean, I got some dirt.
Oh, he's going to the whiskey.
I mean, I got a story to tell you. Apparently